Welcome, everybody. I am Kelly Driftmeyer. I am one of the research and instruction librarians, along with Mario Leva, over at the Sultanfuss Library. This is our beautiful building. And we wanted to walk you through some of the essential resources and some search strategies to kind of give you a little supercharge here. This is only a very brief overview. And of course, as we're working, please feel free to interrupt me with a question. Um, and my one of my colleagues, Yanira Cruz, is on here, and I'm going to ask Yanira if she might please monitor chat for me. So we're going to get going. So today we just want to go through a couple of the places that you can find sources, and that's going to be our research starter, specific databases for your subject matter, and the web resource, ASHA. I'm going to guess you pronounce it Asha. Then we're going to go move into some brief search strategies for using those databases and web resources, and we'll do that through a practice session. If you haven't already been to the library's homepage, I hope that you will bookmark this on your favorite web browser. The URL is library.ollusa.edu. Very easy to get to. This is one of, especially as a graduate student, this is going to be a key resource as you move forward with your specific assignments and your research in virtually all of your classes. So a wonderful resource to just bookmark and save for yourself. On this page, we're going to start with the library guides, and that's the blue button to the right of the three blue buttons, just below the one search bar. Library guides are a collection of curated resources that we've put together as librarians for each subject-specific area. And you'll see that we have, here we're going to look at our subject guides. We also have specific course guides if a professor has requested that. And the topic guides are also a great place to go if you're looking for information on citations or how to use the library, how to check out materials. There's a lot of great information in there. But today we're going to go to the Communication Sciences and Disorders Research Starter. And this is the home page of your research starter. And you'll see me and Mario over here on the right. On the left-hand side, you'll see there's a small menu. We're going to go through that in just a moment. And in the middle, you'll find on this home page our reference books for your subject matter. These are not necessarily things that you would use for in-depth research, but they will get you started. If you pick a topic of interest to you that you don't know a lot about, these different encyclopedias and reference works can be really terrific places to start with getting to know your subject matter more broadly. Of course, on the left-hand side of the page, you can see we have our contact information. If I move to the second page of our research starter here, and you can see that at the top, we've now moved to resources. You'll see a little information about how to get materials that we don't have in our library. So our library is fabulous, if I may say so, but no library in the world is big enough to contain every possible material or access. What we do have are a phenomenal set of sister institutions that share freely. So if we do not have an article or a book or any other resource, and you find it, let's say you find it in Google Scholar, or you find it on the, we're going to actually do this a little later on the ASHA website, then you can put it into our library search page and use our Get It For Me, which is how we ask other institutions to loan their stuff to us for free. And I really want to bear down for a second on the free part. I know a lot of folks will go into Google Scholar. I do myself. You'll find things on the web that will then ask you to pay for access. And I say, please don't pay for access. The library is here to provide those materials for you for free. All you have to do is reach out to us and we will get that to you. On this page, you'll also find some more specific books on the right-hand side, and those are items that we have curated for you that address more specific topics. The books are a great resource to get more in-depth information. They're not going to be up to the second. That's probably the only downside of a book because it does take time to go through the publishing, but the information is richer and deeper. These are peer-reviewed materials. So please do feel like the book collection that we have, both in physical books and in ebooks, are available and valuable to you as you do your research. Finally, in the middle, you'll see that there is a list of web resources, and we will be visiting ASHA here in just a moment. If we return to the library homepage, we're going to go to another one. Well, yes, I want to mention OneSearch first. This is a good all-purpose search engine. This is a specifically great place to go if you are looking for our book or ebook collection. It will also search articles. It'll search everything that we have, certainly physically, and it will search a good deal of what we have electronically. But it only has access to about half of the databases that we have total access to. So if you're looking for very specific in-depth research articles, I'm going to direct you to the databases instead. Okay, so OneSearch is great for books. We're going to go to the databases for research articles. This is the home page. You'll see we have them alphabetized, but of importance to you is right here, this little filter by subject button. If you are on the database page and you want to know which databases are best for you in the communication sciences, then hit that button and scroll down and it will say communication sciences and disorders, and it will have a list that you can click on, and it will limit all 108 databases. I believe we have 15 that you guys are best suited to your research. But I'm also going to show you a little trick. So my favorite database to go to start is Academic Search Complete. One reason it's my favorite is because it's always at the top of the page of the databases. So no matter what list you're looking at, you're almost always going to see Academic Search Complete first. It is also a database. It's also an Ebsco database. And we go to our online connection. Oh, this happens, right? They're going to always want to ask you to sign in, even the librarians. And here we are. I hope this looks familiar to you folks from your undergraduate work. This is a huge publisher of many, many, many databases, a lot of which are exceptional for your area. So here's the trick. Once you go to Academic Search Complete, we can see the publisher's logo here, and at the top of the search boxes, it tells us we're searching this one database. Next to it is a tiny magic hidden button. And if you click on Choose Databases, you'll get a pop-up box that'll show you all the databases by Ebsco that we have access to. And it's over 50. They're all in here. So my shortcut is to select all. Don't worry about this note. That's like dial-up days. Hit OK. See, I lied. Now it's going to be slow on me. There it goes. And now you'll see not only are we searching Academic Search Complete, but we're also searching all these databases together. It is a great way to go fishing for information in a much larger pond. Okay, so this is where we want to go searching. But what about how? So how has to do with your topic and the words you use to search. One of my tricks for searching on any new topic that I have is I start a Google document. And so this is my Google Doc. It's online. I did this last night for you guys. And I will take, I'll make a journal entry or create a document for myself that is my search document. This is just where I'm going to save my search information, where and how and what I found. Okay. So your wonderful professor sent me a number of different topics, and I chose facilitating pragmatic skills in young children. I didn't know what pragmatic skills were before last night, but now I do, because I did some searching on it, and it sounded interesting. So I did some research on this. What I want to show you first is when you're searching in the databases, you cannot enter necessarily a question or a full topic sentence. It doesn't, databases are not quite as smart as, say, Google, where they will understand what you mean when you start looking. They will only look for exactly the words you put into the search boxes. And that's important for breaking down your topic into keywords. And so in this case, I broke it down into 3 sets of keywords: facilitating, pragmatic skills, and young children. Before I even started searching, I went through each one of these and I found some synonyms that I thought would be appropriate or plausible in expanding my search. And there's an important reason that you want to develop a list of alternate words, of synonyms to your keywords right from the start. When you're working with multiple authors and sometimes some cross expertise from different professions that are aligning with your own, authors will use different language. There are some things that are official language, right? Pragmatic skills seems to be a term, and that's good. But I noticed that when I was looking at it, there were several other terms that could be used to mean pragmatic skills. People will sometimes call it pragmatic language or just pragmatics. So we want to have those synonyms available to us as we start the search process, so that if your first search doesn't give you good results, you have alternatives to try. There's nothing more frustrating than putting a search in the database and having nothing come up. That just, it's hair pulling, and we want to help you avoid that. Uh, Young children was another good one. This is actually pretty broad and pretty vague. So in some cases, we want to use synonyms to narrow the focus of our search. So we could go even bigger with children, but we could narrow down by age group. And that could either be through the range of age, 2 to 5-year-olds or 5 to 8-year-olds. We could also do it by school, right? So the elementary school kids or kindergartners or preschoolers, those are terms that authors will use, and so you'll find them in the databases. Great. I'm going to pause for just a second. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? If you have questions, let me know, and then I'll let Ms. Stillwater know. I just want to actually I want to emphasize something that you just said, because I find this to be an issue a lot. Do not ever pay for journals. Please get them free. So I just so wholeheartedly can't emphasize that enough, that anytime you will, every single class that you're in, you're going to do some type of research article type of project, that it's inevitable. And they'll be on all the different topics of the particular courses that you're taking. And you will always have to look for references. So please never pay for anything. There is zero reason for that. Just want to emphasize that. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. And yes, and I often, and I say this very tongue in cheek, I say, if you feel you're tempted to pay for an article, send me the money. We will go have coffee together and I will help you search. But you don't have to do that either. Just you can send me the information, or I'll show you how to get it for me a little later. And I do want to say, if you are timely in your research, this should be the first thing you do before you start writing, then you will have time to get articles from other places. If it's electronic, it'll only take a day. If it takes, if it's like a physical book or a physical journal, then that can take up to a week. So put that time frame into your research process, knowing that some of the best sources may or may not be in our library. Okay. So we're going to put some of those keywords into our newly expanded Academic Search Complete and all. All right. And so I'm going to start with pragmatics. And as I started to do this last night, you'll notice that the database begins to suggest a lot of official language to us. So I haven't gotten halfway through the word, and it's giving me all these options for things that it recognizes as being alternate language or a synonym for pragmatic skills. Okay. And so I'm just going to choose pragmatics. The next box, I like to separate my terms, and I'm going to connect them with and. That's a whole other topic that we could go into at another time. So we are going to use a second search box for young children. And again, as I start to type, you'll see lots of particular options here. And as I get halfway through young children, I see that there are a number of different options for describing that age group. Okay. I'm going to actually choose those because I'm looking right now. I want to look with a pretty big focus, and let's see what happens. At this point, I always wave a little incense in the air just to make sure I got good karma for my search. And yay, we do have a great search. The first thing that I look at when I have got results is how many. It won't necessarily tell you that it's a successful search in how relevant, how close to your topic these articles are, but it will tell you that the database has found things that match your search terms, and that's good. Next step, before I start looking at specific articles, I'm going to go down on the left-hand side where it says Refine Results, and there's two important tools that I want you to always get used to using. The first and maybe the most important one is to click the scholarly or peer-reviewed journals button. This will guarantee that the articles that you are looking at within your search results are peer-reviewed and that they will then meet the scholarly standards that your professors require for your research. Okay. And peer review just means that other professionals have looked at it and said, yes, this information has been collected in the right way. The study was done in the right way. This information seems to be factual, it's factual. And we say that this study is legitimate. So peer reviewed is a great process. You'll notice that cut our number down by almost 1,000. Now we're down to 4,200. The other major refinement tool I want to use is to limit by date, particularly when you're in the sciences. Up-to-date research is incredibly important. Professor Solomon, do you have a time frame, 5 years or 10 years? What do you generally set?
Yeah, I have a 10-year time frame. So for their journal review, it's from 2011 to 2021.
Wonderful. So I can move that left-hand cursor over to 2011. You can also type those in manually. I just like to play with the buttons. And you'll see that that's cut our number again in half. That's still that is a huge result. I do not encourage you to look at all 2,200 of these results. What we want to do now is start to browse the titles and the subject matter of the pieces that we see in front of us and see if they're relevant to our two searches and what we mean about facilitating pragmatic skills in young children. Okay. So I read the title and I assess, does that title seem to address some of the keywords that I'm looking for. And yes, it does indeed. Pragmatic skills. Okay. This one is a gender related one. You can see that. And that might be of interest, that might not. And we would just go down and look at a number of these different topics here. I always recommend that you look at the first 2 pages at least. I know with Google search results, a lot of people go through the first page and that's it. They think going to page 2 is like going to the dark web. It's not, I promise. Usually you'll get about 30 on this front page. I'm going to scroll quickly to the bottom. Yes, we get 30. And once you start going to page 2, you may notice that things become a little less relevant to what you're looking for. So at the point where you start to see titles that really don't seem to connect to what you're doing, that's when you can stop your browsing. Okay. So we're going to go back to our first page of results. Those decisions, of course, are made entirely by you, right? Only each one of your topics and your interests are unique to you. And so making decisions about which article to use, we've taken a couple of those checkpoints off for you. We know it's peer reviewed. We know it's in the right time frame. Now you just have to make a decision. Is this relevant to what I want to talk about? So let's assume that the very first result is a relevant result, and we would like it. And you'll remember we've been talking a lot now about things we don't have, which is uh, a reality. So you'll see here that we've got the title, and then we've got this little button down here that says "Get it for me." Okay, and if I click on the "Get it for me" button, it's going to take us back to our library page. And you'll see this is my profile. And this is where it will, most of the time, it will auto-populate. This will fill the form out for you. So you'll see there's our journal, our date, all of the information we need to get this article for you. This second section, you can leave blank every time. We're going to assume you want a copy. You never need to pay for it. We're going to get it to you as fast as we can. And unless you want a special format, let's say you don't want an electronic copy, you're really looking for a physical copy, this would be the only reason you'd have a comment in there, okay? And of course, it'll fill in your address and contact information. You scroll down to the bottom and you submit your request. It'll come back to you. Usually within 24 to 48 hours is the longest for an electronic source, like a copy of an article. So I encourage you to get used to using this and really embrace our Get It For Me. It's a great way to expand the items that you do have. Okay, let's return back to our search results here. And let's play with them for just a moment. So let's say that I wanted a really specific age group. I'm not quite sure how to ask for it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to actually put the numbers in there. Let's see what happens. Ah, the dreaded. This is common, and nobody freak out because this is just telling me that the database doesn't understand the language I use. Okay, so we might take that off. Maybe it wants, so I start typing the date on the other side. This is where it wants the date. And there we go. So let's see what happens. And you'll find that the databases truly are that literal. We went from no results to small results. Okay, now we only have 3. And that's because these 3 have been very specific down here in their subjects with their ages, right? And you'll see that on all of these. they will have somewhere in here the specific age group. Again, many authors will not identify by age. They may identify by school age, or they might identify simply by the generic term young children or adolescents or toddlers or that kind of thing. That's why it's so important to look, right? Let's say that we've done this very narrow search. We love this one, okay? And I can see down here that instead of saying get it for me, it says that we have the full text available. That's what that little icon means. So let's do a quick save of this. You're going to click on the title, and if we have the full text, it's going to show it to you right away. Let me give you a search tip that I have found very useful. I don't read at this point in my search process. I collect. I assess and decide maybe, 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 maybe. And then once I'm done with my maybes, I go back and look and say yes and no, yes and no. Okay. The reason that I do that is because I love to read. And I have noticed that if I start reading an article, I can spend 20 minutes on one resource, and it's still possible that that resource is not going to end up in my list of cited materials. So I've essentially wasted 20 minutes reading an interesting but not relevant article. So instead, what I suggest you do is go over here to the left to the detailed record, okay? And you'll see it's always with this little yellow box. And here you'll see the highlights of the article, title, authors, source, subject terms. So these could be really important. If you're having a hard time finding synonyms, this will sometimes provide some alternative language that you can use. Okay, so those are very interesting. But to save this one, to look at it later, I do two things. On the left, on the right-hand side, you'll see a list of tools. Go to the very bottom one, and you want to go to the permanent link, the permalink. This URL up here, you guys could all see that one, is different from this one. This one that I'm about to copy will never change. The one at the top of the page, if the database updates or the journal changes a little bit, this one up here can change. This one is like a permanent identifier. Okay, so we take that one, we go back to our page, and we say the results. So this was our search. I did pragmatics in young children, right? Yeah, so we put that here, and yay, now we have that one saved. But I'm a firm believer in saving in more than one place. I never think that's a bad thing to do. So up from permalink now, I'm going to go to email. And when I click on email, it's going to send me, if I put my address in here. I tend to, again, as I'm collecting information, I tend to number them. So I know this was the first one I found. This was the third one I found. You can see I've done that a lot here. So I'm going to call this article 1. And here's a great frustration reliever. If you guys will look on the right-hand side, right here is a button that says citation format. And you can choose in this drop-down box the correct citation. For you guys, that's APA, is that right?
Yes, they're APA 7th edition, absolutely.
Wonderful. So I know from personal experience that when you're doing a research paper, you'll have done your due diligence, you've read your articles, you've written a great paper. It's due to be uploaded in an hour from now, and I forgot to format my cited works. Ugh. That is a deep panic moment for a lot of people all over the research world. So save yourself a little time, choose this citation format, and when this email comes to you, not only will it send the PDF and send the link, it will also send you an APA 7th formatted citation. Yay. So that kind of kills off 3 birds with 1 stone. Okay. So those are the two ways that I save my information. And then I just rinse and wash and repeat. I go back to my list.
So we have a question. Madeline,
Yes.
Madeline, Maddie, what's your question?
So that citation thing is awesome. But what if citation information as well, or just be
Patty, you'll need
an abstract.
yeah, Patty, you'll need to repeat that question. I wasn't able to hear her.
Right. So she was agreeing with you that it's excellent to use that APA checkbox. She wanted to know if it will also send you an internal citation.
Oh, like an in-text citation, one that you would put in your paper?
Oh, God, yes, that's exactly right. Yes.
Yes. The answer to that is no. But those, we do have on our website a wonderful and extensive APA resource tool that will show you exactly how to do those. In text citations, the ones that you put inside your paper, are very, very simple. The ones that trip people up much more often are the ones that go at the end. So that's the one it's going to send you. So we can cover that in just a moment. I don't want to take all of your class time, but I did want to come back to our results and show you one or two other tricks before we leave here. So we're all busy. Many of you probably have full-time or part-time jobs or families or, other things that take your time. And I want your search process to be highly productive and efficient. So if we were to get into this search, okay, and I've gotten back into this search and gone back to just these two terms instead of that long list, and now I'm looking at just 844 results. And the phone rings and Amy, bruised her shin at soccer practice. You need to come pick her up right now. One of those things happens. You don't want to lose this information. And there is a way to save it. There's actually multiple ways to save it, but this is the simplest and the fastest. And that is if you go across the page from the search result number, you'll see a share button. And again, you'll see a permanent link. This permanent link will be absolutely ginormous. Okay. And the reason for that is because we just saved this entire huge link. We just saved not only the results, all 840, whoops, I just erased it, all 844 results, but we also saved the search terms that we used at the beginning. Okay. So these can, so this search, you'll see, I'm trying to make it small enough you can see this is for one article, and this is for an entire search of all 844.
Oh.
Yes, so that you can go back. It's putting a bookmark in the database. It means you can stop what you're doing, go do something else, and come back and pick up where you left off rather than having to start at square one again. And I find that to be a really valuable tool. Okay. So again, once you've got your search going, and if you have to stop, just come over to the right at the very top of the page and share. The email alert, I've actually not used this. We can try. Let's try it right now. Oh, this will just tell you when new stuff comes up. So no, I don't want that. I want this search right here. You can have a sign in and you can have a folder. That gets complicated really fast if you're using multiple databases. I like to use my own storage system, and that's that Google Doc. Okay. Any questions about Ebsco? I did want to touch briefly on the ASHA if we have time.
There aren't any questions, but yes, please go to the ASHA materials because that's what we'll be accessing more than any other journals.
Wonderful. So you can see I bookmarked this last night. American Speech Language Hearing Association. I had the most fun okay, I'm a librarian, so you guys have to realize that librarians are a little nerdy when it comes to research, but I had the best time on this website last night. Learned a ton.
We have a lot of resources on our website, yes.
It's wonderful. Professor, tell me, can they join this for free as students?
No, I don't believe that our library has student access for the ASHA website. I
No,
don't, for ASHA.
no.
So I'm going to let them know about a cheaper way to be able to access all the ASHA journals. Is that accurate that our students can't access the ASHA website journals?
Actually, no, not
Oh,
completely.
okay.
Let me show you
Okay.
how you can.
Okay.
So you're right and I'm right. We're both right, we're both wrong. If you're on the web main page, you want to go to the third tab over, which is the publications tab. And here you'll see a list of all of the ASHA journals, right? All the individual journals in here.
Yeah.
And that's terrific. There are a ton of them. You can also simply go to the home, which is the very top one. And if you click on this, so it gives you this, like, I thought that was kind of interesting. It gives you a lot of feed in here. What I missed in the first 30 seconds that I was looking at this is ASHA does have a search tool, and it's right up here at the top. And once you're in this section here where you're looking at all these different journals, you can come over here at the top to advanced search. And there is a search box for all of the ASHA journals. So if I type in, see, I was doing this last night.
Oh,
I,
fantastic.
I know, I was having so much fun. I took the language of our topic just as it was. I was curious, will their database look for it? And they will.
Oh, yeah.
So if I hit search, this is a good search engine, guys. I really recommend this one. It's given me just a moment to put, there they go. So we got a total of 713 results from ASHA publications, and that is all of them. So you can see here they're broken down by journal, the number of articles from each journal.
Everyone, please write this down. This is going to save you tremendous time and energy, and I wasn't aware of this. So
This is, yes, this is what I was.
write it down.
I was having a geek moment last night with this one. I thought this was wonderful. So you can find all these different articles. So here's where, Professor, you're absolutely correct. We do not have full access. And you can see that right here, that there's this little lock here, that this red lock that says, not so fast, you can't read this. However, what we can do is this. If you will copy, well, so let's say you've browsed it, you've read the abstract, you've read this a little bit here. We're like, okay, this fits within my time frame. It looks really good. This one doesn't happen to, but let's say it does. And I want to read this. I want this full article. Here are your steps. Number 1, copy the title. Number 2, go back to the library homepage, which I still have that up, and put that title in the one search box. Here's another little trick, so that the one search box doesn't look for each one of these words individually. We're going to put quotation marks around them, and that makes it one statement. Okay? That can be good for compound terms like young children. It can also be good for full titles like this one. And we're going to hit search. And you're absolutely right. We don't have it, but if you will expand your search, this is kind of step number 3 or 4, you'll see we do have access to the information. And from here, if you click on the title, sometimes it'll give you access over. Sometimes a button will pop over here and it'll just say, get it for me. If it doesn't, okay, oh, that should. Other libraries. Now let's see, it says that we do have it. That's interesting. Well, I wonder. It doesn't give me. Okay, so if it does this, this is the point at which you reach out to the librarian and say, what is going on with the with the OneSearch page. Do not frustrate yourself with this because I know what's going on and I can fix it. You don't need to know what's going on in order for me to fix it for you. At this point, then, what you do is you type in my email address into your email box and you send me as much of this information as you can. A title is best. A title and an author is bestest. An author is good. Okay, so I can usually track down what you're looking for with at least an author and maybe a date, or but best a title and an author. So you would just copy this, put it in there. Let me show you how I'll fix that, because if you are bold and want to do it yourself, you may want to. So we're going to copy this information and we're going to go one more time back to the home page.
Okay, and I do have a question from Chris. Chris, what is it?
Yes.
Do you like that? Can we screenshot that picture and send it to you so you don't have to type it out and eventually get
Okay, so he's asking if they can, if my students can send you a screenshot rather than typing it all
Oh,
out.
yes, I love that.
Yeah.
You can copy. You can copy. I am the.
I actually have an easier way for them to get all of that, but
That might be true.
but
I,
at any rate, it's a good second way.
Right, and the reason that I just took a copy of those things, I'll show you in a minute, is because I'm going to use that information here in just a second. But if you want to send me a screenshot and that's fastest for you, 100% yes. I am a screenshot queen. Love it. So if you're on the home page and you go down just below the OneSearch box, you'll see another Get It For Me button. And it makes a big noise. You can actually manually input information into your request form. So here I am again, and these are some of the ones. These are some of the many that I've requested over the last year or so. You can click Create a Request, and we are looking for an article. So I know that I got the title. I'm going to drop it right in there. I'm going to take it and take that out, and I know the journal title was in there. And there's journal title. And so I want to take. So basically what I do is I just start cutting and pasting. The volume was in there. And if you left all this information right here, we'd understand that. You know, I can be fancy and do this. And I know it was 1984, so I can, again, I can be fancy and take that date. And then the title of the article is still here. Oh, here's our authors. Take those out and put them over here. And now I've filled this form out myself, right? Now all this information is in here. There it is. There's my title. All of this information has already been done for me. Hit request, it goes the same way. Okay. So you can Get It For Me out manually if you have the patience to do it. If you don't, I can do it for you because I do it pretty fast, and I know that looked really easy, but it takes a little practice. And same thing. So now you can get this for free by requesting it through our Get It For Me. So either way, whether that button appears automatically or whether you fill the form out yourself, we can always get those things for you. And then just to be and just to be safe, I might go back one more time to my document, and I would, I only had half of it, and I would copy in my title and my authors so that I knew this was, this is something that I want to read later, and I found it somewhere else. I might put, and there I go. Now I know where to find it. I know who wrote it, and I know what the title is. And I've got that information saved. So again, if I have to walk away, this is all still here waiting for me when I come back. Okay, and I think that is just about everything we were going to cover for today. Yes, we do want to close those. I just want to leave you with the end here that if you need to contact us for any reason, Mario or myself, you can give us a call. You can email is actually the fastest way to get a hold of us. We check email constantly throughout the day. We also have our chat function. You've probably seen that pop up many times on the bottom of our homepage screen. And of course,